Good morning, students. And how are you this morning? All right. Well, today myself and Miss Kimberly, as you know, will be teaching you today. And our topic today we will be focusing on propagation. What is propagation? So I want you to take 5 seconds. 5 seconds to think about what is propagation. All right. Well, propagation is the production of growing new plants by using different planting materials. All right, so there are two types of propagation. There are sexual propagation and asexual propagation. Can any one of you tell me what is sexual propagation? Think about it. All right, that's a good try. Okay. Sexual propagation is where you use a seed to produce new plants. For example, you have corn, you have a corn seed you can plant, you could get corn from that. You could have a corn plant from that. You have pepper, you could have a pepper plant so that it could produce peppers. Yes, cucumber is one. That's correct, John. Very good. Cucumber. So you could produce cucumber plants. So, as you have an idea about what is sexual propagation, can tell any one of you, tell me what is asexual propagation? Any one of you. Take 5 seconds. 5 seconds on what is asexual propagation. That's a very good try on what is asexual propagation. But I will tell you more about what is asexual propagation. Well, asexual propagation is where you produce new plants other than not using a seed. So, asexual propagation, you're not using a seed, you're using another method other than using the seed. For example, the root, the stem, you could use a stem. You could even use the bark of a tree. Yes, so that are examples of asexual propagation. Very good, students. You did a wonderful job. But before we end the lesson, let's just look at something else that falls under propagation. So let's look at germination. Can someone tell me what is germination? I want to hear from Paul. Let's give Paul a try on what is germination. Very good, Paul. You did a wonderful explanation there. Germination is the process where a seed is developed into a plant. Very good. That's exactly what germination really is. So, do you know there are requirements for germination? Yes, they have requirements for germination. They are light, moisture, temperature, and air. Germination requires those 4 things. Yes, they need those so that they can, grow flourishingly and look healthy. So those are the requirements for germination. If you didn't know that there are requirements for germination, well, you know today. So here is what I want you to do today. I want you to go and do a little research on the types of germination. So I will now hand you over to Miss Kimberly, and she will explain to you on what is photosynthesis and pollination. So, Miss Kimberly, you can go ahead and explain to the students or tell them what is pollination and what is photosynthesis.
Pollination is the transfer of pollen from the anther to the stigma. There are two types of pollination: cross pollination and self pollination. Self pollination is when pollen falls from the anther to the stigma of the same flower or the same plant. Cross pollination. Cross pollination is when pollen is transferred from the anther to the stigma of another flower or another plant. There are two methods of pollination: or wind pollination and insect pollination. Wind pollination is when the wind transports the pollen into the air to another plant. Insect pollination is when the insects carry the pollen and nectar of flowers by insect. It's called insect pollination. Photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is the process by which plants produce their own food by using carbon dioxide, water, and sunlight.
Okay, class, that's the end of our lesson today. I trust that you all learned something that you didn't know before and that you may share it. Share it with your family, your close friends, and so on what you learned today in class. See you guys at our next class, which will be held next week. Enjoy the rest of the day.